They won't tell you this at your regular checkup, but after 60, your erections don't just weaken by chance. They weaken because your body is silently losing its ability to send blood where it matters most. And if you ignore it, what starts as a little performance issue can turn into a full-blown shutdown of your manhood. I'm talking about thinner erections, slower response, even a complete loss of desire. And here's the real shock. It's preventable. Entirely preventable. I'm Dr. James. I've been treating men's health for over 30 years, and I've helped thousands of men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s restore what they thought was gone forever. No prescriptions, no embarrassing office visits, just the right knowledge and the right natural tools to rebuild your strength from the inside out. Most men believe pills are the only answer. But what if I told you that's not only wrong, it's the reason so many men never truly recover? Today I'm going to share with you 5 supplements that I recommend again and again because they don't just help you get hard. They help make your penis healthier, stronger, and more responsive. And if you stay with me until the end, I'll reveal the one supplement that even many doctors overlook, but it's the key to restoring masculine confidence at its core. It's not hype, it's science, and it could change everything for you. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a health update designed specifically for men over 60. And if this message speaks to you, drop a 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 and let me know how I can better serve your journey to strength, vitality, and lasting confidence. All right, let's get started with what most men never hear until it's too late: the truth about erections after 60. Because if you don't understand what's really happening inside your body as you age, no supplement, no pill, and no doctor's advice will ever truly fix the problem. This first part lays the foundation for everything that follows. 1. The truth about erections after 60. I'll never forget a man named Carl who came into my office a few years ago. 68 years old, Vietnam veteran. Tough as nails on the outside, but on that day, he looked defeated. He leaned forward, lowered his voice, and said, "Doc, I feel like my body just doesn't belong to me anymore. It's like my manhood just faded." That conversation has stuck with me because Carl wasn't alone. I've had that same talk with thousands of men over the last 3 decades. And it always begins the same way. Somewhere after 60, things begin to change. Morning erections disappear. Sexual desire softens. Erections that used to come easily now take more time, more effort, and don't last as long. And worst of all, men blame themselves. They think it's age or stress, or maybe they've just lost it. But here's the truth: it's not your fault, and you are far from alone. What most men don't realize is that your ability to get and maintain an erection is deeply tied to your cardiovascular health, your hormone levels, and the quality of your blood vessels. Erections are, quite literally, a blood flow event. And after age 60, several changes start to work against you. First, your body's production of nitric oxide declines. This is the key molecule that tells your blood vessels to open up and allow blood to flood the penis. Without enough nitric oxide, blood can't enter or stay trapped in the erectile tissue. That means weaker, shorter erections, or sometimes none at all. Second, your arteries start to stiffen with age, especially if you've had high blood pressure, diabetes, or poor diet. The arteries that supply the penis are some of the smallest in your entire body. Even a little bit of plaque buildup or inflammation can restrict flow and make arousal feel frustrating and unpredictable. Third, testosterone levels fall gradually over time, and when they do, your sex drive takes a hit, your confidence wavers, and your energy drops. But it's not just about hormones, it's about what those hormones signal to your body. Low testosterone and high-stress hormones like cortisol tell your body to shut down reproduction, to conserve energy, not to perform. All of these changes are natural, yes, but they are not irreversible. Here's what no one tells you. Your body still wants to work for you. The systems are still in place, the circuits still exist. They've just been deprived of the right support, With the right nutrients, the right blood flow, and the right hormonal balance, your erections can return stronger than you thought possible. I've seen it happen over and over again, not just for men in their 60s, but in their 70s and beyond. Carl? 3 months later, he walked into my office smiling ear to ear. "Doc," he said, "I'm back." And he meant it. So now that you understand what's really happening beneath the surface, let me show you the first natural solution that helps lay the foundation for stronger, longer-lasting erections. This one starts where all erections begin, with your blood flow. 2. Supplement 1. L-Citrulline, the Erection Foundation Builder. When I first started recommending L-Citrulline to my older male patients, I'll admit even some of them raised an eyebrow. "What is this stuff, Doc? Some kind of new age powder?" But a few weeks later, those same men would call me, sometimes with a grin in their voice, and say, "You weren't kidding." L-Citrulline isn't some gimmick. It's an amino acid your body already knows how to use. What makes it so powerful, especially for men over 60, is what it turns into: nitric oxide. That's the molecule that signals your blood vessels to relax, expand, and open wide. It's the starting point of every erection. Without it, the body can't deliver blood into the penis, and no amount of stimulation will change that. You're trying to inflate a balloon with a blocked valve. It's frustrating, and for many it feels humiliating. What L-Citrulline does is restore that natural flow. It acts like a quiet assistant backstage, helping your blood vessels remember what they used to do so easily: open up and let life in. And when that happens, everything starts to change. Erections come easier, they stay firmer, they last longer. That slow, sluggish feeling starts to lift. There's a sense of power returning, a kind of confidence that doesn't just show up in the bedroom, but follows you throughout the day. I remember a gentleman named Robert. He was 71 and had just lost his wife the year before. He wasn't dating, he wasn't trying to impress anyone, but he came to me because he said he wanted to feel like a man again. I started him on L-Citrulline, just a basic clean form, nothing fancy. A month later, he called me, voice shaking just a little, and said, "I didn't expect this, but something's waking back up." That's the magic of this compound. It doesn't force anything, it restores. It gives your body the building blocks it needs to do what it once did naturally. And it does it gently, without the pressure, headaches, or artificial spike and crash of pills. It's a slow rebuild, like restoring an old engine with care piece by piece. But when it kicks in, you'll feel the difference. Most men I work with take between 500 and 3,000 milligrams a day. Some pair it with light walking, stretching, or even breathing exercises to enhance blood flow further. Within a few weeks, the changes are real, not just in function, but in self-worth. That's what no one talks about enough. Erections aren't just physical, they're deeply emotional. They're tied to how we see ourselves as men, even in our later years. L-Citrulline is where I start with nearly every man who wants to rebuild from the inside out, because blood flow is the foundation, and without it, nothing else matters. Now, once we get that flow moving again, the next challenge is keeping those vessels clear and healthy, like making sure your pipes don't get clogged after the water starts flowing. And for that, we turn to a powerful natural extract that most people walk right past in the grocery store, never knowing what it can do for a man's performance. Let's talk about that next. 3. Supplement 2. Grapeseed extract, the artery cleanser. If there's one thing I've learned over 3 decades working with older men, it's this: you can't get strong erections if your arteries are stiff, narrow, or inflamed. You might feel desire, you might even get a bit aroused. But the blood can't get where it needs to go, and if it does, it can't stay there long enough to matter. That's why when I sit across from a man who tells me he's struggling with performance, one of the first things I think about isn't testosterone, it's circulation. Not just how strong the heart is pumping, but how clean the pathways are. And that brings me to grapeseed extract. Now, I'll be honest, most men hear grapeseed and think it sounds too gentle, too common to be powerful. But I promise you, this little powerhouse is one of the best natural tools we have for cleaning and protecting your blood vessels. You see, grapeseed extract is loaded with compounds called oligomeric proanthocyanidins. Don't worry, you don't have to remember that mouthful. What matters is what they do. These compounds reduce oxidative stress, lower inflammation, and most importantly, they help the walls of your arteries stay flexible and open. That means more blood can flow where it needs to go, especially to the penis. I remember one man, Harold, a retired engineer in his early 70s. He was healthy by most standards, normal weight, decent blood pressure, but his erections were weak and unpredictable. He said it felt like something just wasn't connecting anymore. We added a high-quality grapeseed extract to his daily routine, and within 6 weeks, he started noticing changes, not just in the bedroom, but in how his body felt overall. He told me he was thinking clearer, walking with more energy, and yes, waking up with morning erections again. He said, "Doc, I didn't realize how sluggish I'd become until my body started working right again." What I love about grapeseed extract is that it's not just focused on performance, it's focused on health. When your arteries are clear, your brain gets more oxygen, your heart doesn't have to work as hard, and your risk of stroke, heart disease, and even diabetes complications begins to drop. And all of that ties right back to your ability to perform sexually. It's especially powerful when combined with L-Citrulline, which we talked about earlier. One opens the pipes, the other cleans and protects them. Together, they create the kind of environment where erections can come naturally again. Not forced, not fragile, but strong and reliable. And here's a little-known fact. Certain patented forms like Mega Natural BP are even more effective because they're standardized for high polyphenol content. That's what I recommend to my patients who are serious about results. But once you've improved blood flow and cleaned the arteries, there's one more hidden enemy you need to address: inflammation. Chronic inflammation is like rust inside your blood vessels. It quietly breaks things down. It dulls sensation, it weakens your response, and left unchecked, it can sabotage even the best efforts. So next, let me show you the supplement I use to fight back against this silent destroyer and help protect the very tissue that makes strong erections possible. 4. Supplement 3. Quercetin, the erection protector. One of the most overlooked enemies of strong erections isn't visible. It doesn't make headlines. It doesn't cause pain you can point to. But it's there, quietly working against you every day. Inflammation. And if you're over 60, chances are it's already doing more damage than you realize. Now, I don't mean the kind of inflammation you feel after twisting your knee. I'm talking about low-level chronic inflammation, the kind that builds up slowly in your blood vessels, your organs, even your sexual tissue. This kind of inflammation stiffens your arteries, dulls your sensitivity, and slowly chips away at your ability to perform. That's where quercetin comes in. I like to think of quercetin as the quiet bodyguard for your blood vessels. It doesn't just reduce inflammation, it actually helps protect and repair the endothelium, the delicate inner lining of your arteries. This is the very lining that controls how blood flows into your penis. When that lining is inflamed or damaged, erections weaken, response time slows, and sensation drops. But when you protect it, support it, and let it heal, you start to feel like your body is yours again. I've seen this play out more times than I can count. One man, Alan, a retired high school principal, came to me because he was frustrated. He was taking care of himself, eating right, walking daily, but his erections were unreliable. He told me it's like the signal gets there, but the body doesn't follow through. We added quercetin to his supplement routine, just a basic 500 milliliters capsule with his lunch. 6 weeks later, he told me he'd started waking up with morning erections again. Not every day, but enough to feel like something real was happening. And it wasn't just the physical shift, it was the emotional lift. His words still stick with me. It's like hope walked back in the door. That's what I see with quercetin. Not overnight fireworks, but a quiet return of function, a steady rebuilding of what inflammation slowly tried to steal. It also helps reduce allergic responses, supports your immune system, and has even shown promise in protecting the brain. But where it shines for men like you is in its ability to shield the vascular system and support healthy, responsive erections. Now, I always recommend pairing it with a clean diet. Less processed food, fewer sugars, more greens, because quercetin works better in a low-inflammatory environment. And yes, it stacks beautifully with both L-Citrulline and grapeseed extract. Together, they don't just support blood flow. They help your arteries heal, relax, and respond like they used to. But what if I told you that there's one supplement that goes a step further? Not just protecting what you have, but actually amplifying your erection strength, stamina, and sensitivity without medication. It's backed by clinical studies. It mimics what Viagra does, but works with your body, not against it. Let me introduce you to the one extract I call the natural version of Viagra and why it's helping men in their 60s and 70s feel like they're in their 40s again. 5. Supplement. 4. Pine bark extract. Pycnogenol shear, the natural Viagra alternative. I've had many men come into my office asking, "Doc, is there anything natural that works like Viagra, but without the side effects?" They're usually hesitant, sometimes embarrassed, but always hopeful. And every time I tell them about something that's been a game changer for so many of my patients. Pine bark extract, specifically a clinically tested form called pycnogenol. Now let me be clear, this isn't some miracle herb with empty promises. This is a plant-based extract that's been studied in clinical trials and shown to significantly improve erectile function, especially when combined with amino acids like L-Citrulline or L-Arginine. It doesn't just help you get hard, it helps your body remember how to get hard, naturally, reliably, and without forcing the system like a pharmaceutical drug does. One of my patients, Ron, was 65 and had been using Viagra for years. It helped at first, but then came the side effects: headaches, flushed face, and one scary moment where he felt his heart pounding out of rhythm. He came to me and asked, "Is there another way?" I introduced him to Pycnogenol. We paired it with L-Citrulline, cleaned up his diet, and gave it time. After about 6 weeks, he called me up and said, "I don't think I need the pills anymore." That's the power of Pycnogenol. It works by increasing nitric oxide production in the lining of your blood vessels, just like Viagra does, but more gently and over time. It also improves the elasticity of your arteries, reduces oxidative stress, and supports better circulation throughout your entire body, not just below the belt. Men often report better focus, improved energy, and deeper sleep because blood flow affects everything. What sets Pycnogenol apart is that it works with your body, not against it. Instead of pushing blood through like a fire hose, it opens the pipes and lets your natural response system do the rest. That means fewer risks, more control, and results that actually improve the longer you use it. In other words, it helps restore, not just react. I usually recommend starting at 100 milligrams per day and gradually increasing to 200, especially if you're combining it with other blood flow supporting supplements. And just like the others we've covered, consistency is key. This isn't about taking something once and hoping for fireworks. It's about rebuilding the engine piece by piece. Now here's what's truly exciting. When you restore blood flow with L-Citrulline, clean the arteries with grapeseed extract, protect the lining with quercetin, and add the amplifying power of Pycnogenol, you're laying the full foundation for performance. But even then, there's still one major piece missing, something that most men completely overlook, yet it has everything to do with your strength, desire, and ability to perform. It's not blood flow, it's not vessel health, it's your hormones. And after 60, they often work against you in ways that can quietly destroy not just your sex life, but your energy, confidence, and identity. Let me show you how to turn that around, naturally. 6. Supplement. 5. Tongkat Ali, the Masculinity Recharger. There's a certain moment I've seen play out in many of my patients' lives, a moment when they look in the mirror and realize they don't feel like themselves anymore. Not just sexually, but in their energy, their drive, their sense of masculinity. That spark that once made them feel alive, it's just not there like it used to be. They're not depressed exactly. They're not sick. But something's missing. And most of them assume that's just part of getting older, but it doesn't have to be. One of the most powerful tools I've found to help men reclaim that spark is a natural root extract called Tongkat. It's been used for centuries in Southeast Asia as a vitality booster, and modern science is finally catching up, showing that it works by doing something deeply important, restoring hormonal balance. You see, after age 60, your testosterone levels decline steadily, while your cortisol, the hormone linked to stress, often goes up. That combination is brutal on your sex drive, your energy levels, and your ability to feel connected, not just to your partner, but to yourself. And the worst part, most men don't even realize it's happening. Tongkat helps to gently nudge your body back into a healthier state. It lowers cortisol, increases free testosterone, and reignites the signals your body needs to feel desire, motivation, and yes, sexual power again. It doesn't overload your system. It simply unlocks what's already there. Waiting. One man I'll never forget is George, 73. Widowed. He told me, "I'm not looking to chase women, Doc. I just want to feel like a man again." He'd lost interest in the things that used to give him joy. Walking his dog, fixing up his boat, even flirting a little with the neighbor he'd known for years. We added Tongkat to his routine. 3 weeks later, he came in smiling. He said, "I feel like I woke up." He wasn't suddenly 20 again, but he felt lighter, more capable, more himself. What I love about Tongkat is that it doesn't just help with erections, it helps with everything that leads up to an erection. The thoughts, the desire, the confidence, the motivation to initiate. It restores the inner fire that so many men quietly lose with time. Most men do well on a daily dose of 200 to 400 milligrams of a standardized 201 extract. I usually recommend a 5 days on, 2 days off schedule to keep your body responsive. And when used alongside the other supplements we've discussed, L-Citrulline, grapeseed extract, Quercetin, and pycnogenol, it completes the full circle: blood flow, vascular health, protection, amplification, and now hormonal rebalancing. But here's where things get really interesting. A lot of men ask me, why don't more doctors recommend these natural options? And the answer is both simple and frustrating. There's a huge difference between treating symptoms and rebuilding function. These 5 supplements do the latter. Now, let's talk about why these natural solutions often outperform the little blue pill, and why the mainstream medical system doesn't talk about them nearly enough. What you're about to hear may surprise you. 7. Why these work better than pills. I've had countless men sit across from me clutching a bottle of pills with a look of both hope and hesitation in their eyes. They'll say, "Doc, this worked for a while, but now it feels like I'm chasing the same result with more effort." And I always nod because I've heard it before. The truth is, medications like Viagra and Cialis have their place. They were revolutionary when they first came out. They gave men back something they'd lost, but what no one tells you is that they were never designed to be a long-term fix. Those pills work by forcing blood into the penis, overriding your body's natural signals. And yes, it can create an erection, but it's a bit like jump-starting a car with a dying battery. You can do it, but eventually the battery needs replacing. The problem is, pills don't rebuild anything. They don't improve blood vessel health. They don't lower inflammation. They don't boost nitric oxide production or rebalance hormones. They just cover up the symptoms for a few hours and then fade, often leaving side effects in their wake. That's where these 5 natural supplements are different. They don't just help you perform, they help you heal. L-Citrulline restores blood flow from the inside out. Grapeseed extract clears out your arteries and supports healthy blood pressure. Quercetin reduces inflammation and protects the tissue your erections depend on. Pycnogenol enhances nitric oxide production without straining your system. And Tongkat gives your testosterone the gentle boost it needs to bring back desire and confidence. Together, they don't just make things work again. They create a foundation where your body remembers how to function on its own. No more relying on a pill that works sometimes, but never quite feels natural. No more worrying about when the effects will wear off or if you've timed it right. With these nutrients, your body becomes the solution, not the problem. I remember one man, Sam, who had been using erectile dysfunction meds for nearly 10 years. When he came to me, he was frustrated, tired of chasing a moment of relief that never quite delivered. We switched him to the supplement protocol we've been talking about in this video. At first, he was skeptical. He'd been burned before by empty promises, but within a couple of months, the changes were undeniable. He told me, "Doc, for the first time in years, I feel like this is coming from me, not from a pill." That's the goal, not just to perform, but to reclaim something deeper, to feel that fire again, to move with confidence, to connect not just sexually but emotionally with your partner, and to walk through the world knowing you haven't been left behind by time, but rather you've stepped into a new chapter of strength. And here's the best part. You don't need to figure it all out at once. You just need a simple, clear daily plan to get started, a roadmap to help you take the first step with confidence. And that's exactly what I'm going to share with you next. 8. Your Start Today Plan. By now, you've seen the bigger picture, how blood flow, vessel health, inflammation control, nitric oxide production, and hormone balance all work together to create the kind of erections that feel natural, strong, and lasting. But knowing the information is only half the battle. The real power comes when you put it into action, one step at a time. You don't need to change everything overnight. In fact, the men who get the best results are the ones who start with a clear, manageable plan, a daily rhythm they can stick with. So let me walk you through the same Start Today plan I give my patients, men in their 60s, 70s, even early 80s, who are ready to take their health and manhood seriously again. In the morning before breakfast, take L-Citrulline. This is your blood flow primer. I usually recommend between 1,500 and 3,000 milligrams. It works best on an empty stomach. Next, take your Tongkat Ali, 200 to 400 milligrams of a high-quality extract, 5 days on, 2 days off. This sets the tone for your hormones. You'll feel a subtle lift in energy and drive as the days go by. With lunch, take Quercetin and grape seed extract. I typically suggest 500 milligrams of quercetin and 150 to 300 milligrams of a standardized grapeseed extract like Mega Natural BP. These work together to protect and open your arteries. They support the very foundation your erections depend on. In the evening, take pycnogenol, 100 to 200 milligrams. This helps enhance nitric oxide production and strengthens the circulatory response, working while you sleep to support your nighttime erections and early morning wood, which are both signs of deep internal recovery. Now, if that sounds like a lot, don't worry. Within 2 weeks, it becomes routine, like brushing your teeth. And when you feel the shift, when the blood starts flowing better, when your energy steadies, when desire quietly comes back into the room, you'll know it's working. Most men start to notice subtle improvements within the first few weeks, with stronger results appearing by the second or third month. But this isn't just about supplements. I always encourage my patients to move a little more. Take a 20-minute walk every day. Stretch your body, breathe deeply, sleep at least 7 hours a night, and stay curious about what your body is still capable of, because I promise you it's more than you think. There's something deeply rewarding about taking back control, not just of your health, but of your identity. You're not doing this just for performance. You're doing this to feel whole again, to stand a little taller, to walk into a room knowing you still have fire in your eyes and strength in your stride. You've now got the knowledge, you've got the tools, and you've got a plan you can begin today. But before we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one final thought, something I've learned after treating thousands of men and walking beside them as they rebuilt what time tried to take away. Because at the heart of all this isn't just biology, it's something much more powerful, and I want to share that with you now. 9. Final thoughts from Dr. James. If you've stayed with me this far, I want to say something directly, man to man, thank you. Not just for watching, but for caring enough about yourself to listen, to learn, and to consider doing something different. I've worked with men for over 30 years. I've seen every stage of the journey, from confusion and shame to transformation and strength. And I can tell you this, the moment you choose to take back control of your health, things start to change. Sometimes slowly, sometimes quietly, but they change. You've learned that erections after 60 aren't just about desire. They're about blood flow, artery health, inflammation, nitric oxide, and hormonal balance. We've talked about L-Citrulline, the foundation builder that supports natural blood flow. We covered grape seed extract, the artery cleanser that keeps the pathways clear. You learned how quercetin protects the very lining of your vessels, guarding your ability to respond with strength and consistency. We explored pycnogenol, the plant-based powerhouse that works like a natural Viagra alternative without the side effects. And finally, you saw how Tongkat helps recharge your masculinity from the inside out, reigniting your energy, your confidence, and your desire. But what matters more than the science is what this means for your life. This isn't just about having sex again. It's about the pride of waking up and feeling like your body belongs to you. It's about walking across the room and knowing you've still got strength in your step. It's about looking your partner in the eye and feeling connected again. It's about regaining a part of yourself that maybe you thought was gone forever and realizing it never really left, it just needed to be awakened. I've seen these changes in men who thought their best years were behind them. I've watched men in their late 70s fall back in love with their wives after years of distance. I've seen men regain the courage to date again after loss or divorce. I've watched tired, discouraged men stand up straighter, speak clearer, and smile wider, not because of some miracle, but because they gave their body the right support and stayed consistent. I won't pretend it's instant. It's not magic. But if you follow the plan, if you give your body the nutrients it needs, move a little more, rest a little better, and treat your health as something worth fighting for, you'll start to feel the difference. First in small ways, then in bigger ones. And before long, you may just surprise yourself. So my final message to you is this. You are not broken, you are not too old, and you are certainly not finished. Your body still wants to work for you. Your heart still wants to connect, your mind still wants to dream, and your manhood, yes, even now, still wants to rise. Start today, stay steady, give your body a reason to believe in you again, because when you do, it will answer. And I'll be right here cheering you on every step of the way.